called me last night about a Capital Rideshare matter.
Oh, okay. He got home.
That's what he called me about. I emailed him this morning asking if he got home and didn't get a reply.
He did.
All right. Okay, so yeah, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over the basics. Both of you in past, you guys have worked on the D7 websites. You guys are pretty familiar with kind of how to edit things. This new platform is not going to be too much different. Obviously, the look and feel of how things are going to be different from your old website to your new one. So we're going to kind of go through that. Usually we go through introductions and everything, but you guys are pretty familiar. You guys know both Ralph and I. I've been working pretty closely. So first, I'm going to send you guys a link to a website we're going to be just running through. This is kind of our training website, so you can kind of go in there, mess around, we'll do things, and we'll kind of just do stuff kind of one-on-one to make sure you guys are good to go with this. Usually this is, we wanted it to be a hands-on training, so you guys are kind of going in there, messing around with things, and if you guys have any questions, we can answer them as we are going. But if you go to that website, this is our training website. Let me send you the link to where you're going to log in at. So if you go to /user, like you have done in your past websites, the username and password. The username is training user, and the password is password 1234. Let me know. I will share my screen here. I'll follow along and be doing this with you guys. So let me change over here. Again, going to the user sign in. I'm sure you're familiar with that. If you've done the old kind of style of Drupal logging in, I know we switched over to Okta, which you will have for you guys' new sites. So we'll just continue to do that. When you go to /user, you'll just authenticate through Okta, so you don't have to worry about this part. But I will sign in here. It is password 1234. Login. And I am now logged into the website. When you log in, the first thing you'll notice is that you'll be on this member for page. This is kind of your home page for your user. So there's not really much information in here. Another indication but that's a good indication that you've logged into the website. The other indication is just going to be this white bar that's going to be on the left side. That's going to be the admin bar. You've both kind of ran through those old D7 sites. Usually when you logged in, you had that black admin bar that went across the top. Well, with the new D9 distribution, we have a new theme in there where it actually shows it on the left side. So you can kind of see more of your website, kind of how it is from top to bottom, where there's no kind of breaking points of those type of things. So it just kind of allows to get a little bit of a better sense of how things are laid out.
Sorry, Vincent, were you giving us a login so that we could play with it later, or?
It's to kind of play with it as we're kind of going through.
Okay, so and you wanted us to do training user and then password 1234 or just 123?
1234.
Okay, and is it capitalized with a P for password or no?
Yes, I have it pulled up.
You do have it. Okay, hold on a second, because I was trying to log in and it didn't like me. So hang on a second here. Okay, I'm in. Sorry about that.
Okay, no worries. Okay, Mary, were you able to log in?
Yes, I'm in.
Okay. Let's go back to the website. So, again, so when you logged in, you obviously have your admin bar here to the left. So kind of going over, again, it's very similar to how your last websites worked. You had your content overview pages where you're able to add in content. There's a structure where you're able to kind of mess around with the menus. and maybe some categorization so you can kind of see the different taxonomy that's used throughout the website. Last, you do have the settings page that you have here. Don't worry about this. You actually can't access anything. So when I click on this, all it's going to do, it's just going to take me to this item. You don't have any administrative items. It's just a permissions thing. But the main thing that we want to kind of go over is this content section. This is where you're mainly going to live, right? So if I click on this content icon here, it will take you directly to the overview page. And this is kind of where you want to be to kind of find out all the information that's going to be on your website. One thing I did miss here that I do want to show you is in case it's a little hard to kind of know which icon is what. There's this little arrow icon at the bottom. If you click on that, it just expands this out so it's a little bit easier to read, so you know where you're going. So you can go to content and then go to the overview page again, and it brings you here. Again, just like in the last D7 platform, this is kind of where you're going to go to view all your content. You can search things by titles. So you can look for things. If I were just put PRE, for example, it shows me all the titles that have PRE in it. So press news here, for example. Then obviously you can always search by just various content types. So if you wanted to see, what resources or meetings content type that you have in here, if I just filter that, it just shows me all of the meetings that I have created on the website. So it's just an easy way to kind of go through and navigate the websites so you can see what content's already on there. And again, you'll see things like, is it published? If you need to unpublish it, you can easily just kind of go in there, edit it, and then unpublish it. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Now that we're on the topic of content, I kind of want to go over to you kind of what is default content that's coming right out of the box. Again, you're going to see some stuff that is familiar from the last way. I'm going to just collapse this here so we get a little bit more screen space. But taking a look here, if you go to the content and go to add content, it takes you to the various content types that you're able to create on the website. A lot of stuff is actually going to be pretty familiar with you. Basic page is exactly what you would think it would be. It's a place where you can create static content. It's not going to change too much. You can place those along the main menu so people would navigate to those pages to find information. You have event type that's available to you. If you host any events, you can create those where you can add in, the time obviously is going to be, you can add in, it allows people to add onto the calendar, and you're able to obviously just display it in a list view of all the events that are coming up. The next thing here, we have leadership. Now, because all of our state agencies are displaying leadership one way or another, whether that is for boards and commissions showing their board members, or for leadership just showing who the directors are and staff that are on the website, we've created a content type that allows you to kind of just easily add in those leadership, those profiles for those people that are featured on you for your agency. So again, leadership's also for board members. So if you have board members you want to highlight, you just go there, you add them in there, and it will put them onto the leadership page without you having to worry about anything else. Next, obviously, we have our meeting content types. Those are for board meetings or any other meetings where you're sharing your agendas, meeting minutes. It allows you to actually utilize and leverage those links to put in for like Zoom calls. If you're doing Zoom, or if you're using Google, you can put the Google Meets link in there. So all that information could be just one place. So people can go, they can select it, they can join virtually if you guys have it set up that way. So that's just one way to kind of take advantage of the meetings, and people can obviously add them onto the calendar just like they did with the events. And then lastly, we have...
Can I ask you a question, Vincent? So meetings and events both show on a calendar?
They will. So, we don't have a calendar itself. We're actually something that we're working on. Yeah,
Okay.
which it's just going to be a list of items. We're eventually going to come out with a calendar, and
Okay.
yeah, we'll have it so you could display all the meetings and the events on one single calendar as well.
And they both have the same components, an event?
Yes,
And
they're very similar. The only difference is going to be obviously that meetings are going to be more geared towards setting up the meeting. So here, for example, I have a place for my agendas. I have a place for my minutes, so I can just
Okay.
upload them there, and then the meeting links. So that's something that you're not going to see in the events because you're not necessarily going to have a meeting link in the events, but this is just more so. So it's geared towards meetings. The other thing that you'll see in here is a meetings feedback and attendance. So what that means is that if I turn those on, that actually allows people to register their attendance at a meeting. So if you're holding a board meeting, it actually allows you to you send off a link for those for people to attend virtually. They can go in and they can just register that I am here, I am attending this meeting, I'm watching it, or I'm even physically there. They can do it directly online to do that. The meeting feedback is actually a place where people can submit questions, and then you, on your side of things, as long as you're logged in, you can pull up all the questions that somebody has submitted, so you can go through them during a hearing or a board meeting. So it's just something to kind of take advantage of. It's something that's very early on. We're still working on it, but it's definitely a good feature that people have wanted, just so they can start collecting those things online and then be able to kind of answer them, especially now that things have gone virtual. It just kind of made things a little bit easier for them to kind of keep track of all those questions as things are going.
okay, but the meeting attendance is really only for virtual meeting when it's tracking that.
Yeah, you mean some people would, some people want to use it for even physical meetings. So people would say, "Hey,
Okay.
bring your laptop, sign in there." So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we've had a couple of boards use it so they can at the beginning of the meeting they want to know who attends, so they just post it up and go. If you go here, you can sign in. That way, they don't have to deal with paper.
So it creates an attendance list is what it does?
yes,
Okay, so people are registering basically for the event or the meeting in advance. Is that what it's doing?
yes.
Okay.
They can, or some use it as they come in.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So, kind of going back to this a little bit now. The other thing you'll have is kind of going to be a news piece, news, press releases, stuff that you want to share. You can do that as well. It's pretty straightforward. Obviously, just you can add in an image and then just a news article in there. Obviously, the more you pump out, it will build itself onto a list view of things and be displayed at various places around the website. The last thing is this service content type. I won't go too deep into it today, but it is something for you both to kind of keep in the back of your head. What we're trying to do is that the state of Arizona is trying to get a good tab on all of the services that the agencies provide. It's been a struggle for them to kind of keep track of those things because a lot of agencies will introduce new services or take away old services without either reporting them. So we really don't have a good list of what actually does every agency provide. So what this service content type is going to do is going to put that into the hands of the agencies to allow you to create a list of all those services that you provide, both online and offline. So that way, eventually at some point down the line, what the state is going to do is that it's going to create a website that displays all of the services that are offered by the state. It will pull in those services that are managed by each individual website. So it kind of has a good list and pool of those things. So it's just something to think about, the things that you want to identify. For your guys' case, since you guys are doing the turnkey migration, something you don't really have to worry about before launch. It's just something to kind of think about. So come post launch, it's probably something you want to go in there and start identifying what those services are, so people know what the agency provides.
That was actually kind of a confusing thing for me, and I put it on my UAT sheet. And that explains a lot because I was finding things under resources and I was wondering why they were labeled such. So I think I really kind of need to go back and rethink some of the navigation on my site.
Okay. Okay, yeah, and we can go through that. And also, I did want to go through one thing I did want to spend some time on. What are the resources? I know that there's a lot of questions on resources themselves and kind of how to handle that and how we want to do that. So we will be going through that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go back to the home page. This is kind of just a standard way of how we have things displayed, in the sense of, we have things like about, under about is where you're going to find the leadership, board members, and then those services, Mary, kind of what you're pointing out. As far as something you've clicked on, you saw, and then you saw contact us may have been one of them that's listed under there. What that does is that's just saying that because you have a way for people to contact Capital Rideshare online, that is a service that you provide. It's an online service. So that's something that is displayed along your services. So that's why whenever somebody pulls in all that information for people, it knows that Capital Rideshare has an online service for people to contact them. The other thing that we will take a look at, obviously we have our news. We've talked about that, where when you create those content types, this is where the news articles are going to live. And we can have them displayed on different places around the website. Same thing goes for events and meetings. The events, very similar to kind of how the news looks. It just allows you to show all the upcoming events, what time they're going to be at. And then when people go in to learn a little bit more, they can learn more about that event and what they need to do if they need to register or just to attend. So again, this is where I was talking about where people can add it onto the calendar. So if I click on add calendar, it takes me directly. I can add it onto any calendar that is, whether that's my own personal Apple iCalendar, or if I want to add it on Google Calendar, I could do that as well. The meetings, they're a little stripped down, but this is kind of what we were talking about before. This has just a list of all the upcoming meetings, very similar to kind of how we were doing it before, where you have the meetings, the date, and then people to be able to select the agenda and the minutes. So if I go ahead and I click on this, this actually pulls up. If I have multiple files for those agendas, you're able to kind of upload as many as you need to, and it allows people to kind of select which files they need for that particular meeting. The same thing goes for the minutes. Now, one thing we are trying to get people to start doing is actually start moving those minutes, especially with the audio files, because we know that they could be pretty long. Is to start, putting them into your Google Drive and just linking to that particular file within the Google Drive so people can go ahead and go in there and listen. We are adding a functionality where you can use links to link off those agendas or those minutes. A lot of agencies are starting to go that direction as far as using Google Drive as a source for where they're keeping all their meeting minutes, especially for those large files.
I have a quick question, Vincent. On
Yes.
agendas, can you do multiple? I think you showed me. Are you doing multiple files on agendas?
You can if you want to.
Okay.
You don't have to do multiple files, but it is there for you to use if you want to.
Do you know how many files you can upload there?
I haven't tested out what the limit is, but there's technically no limit. You can upload as many as you
Okay.
need to.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then the last thing here, trying to go over, is going to be the resources. But again, we're going to dive into that a little bit. But it's going to be the contact us. If I click on that, we're just kind of standardizing how the contact us works and how the web form is, and how to leverage those things and kind of create new web forms as well. That's more of an advanced thing. And if you ever want to learn how to use web forms, definitely let us know so we can kind of go through, maybe set up a training for that as well. But that's a little bit more of an advanced thing if anybody ever wants to learn. But so far, you're kind of seeing what the structure is, kind of what those content types are starting to look like. What I do want to do here is I do want to jump in and I want to start just getting us to get used to creating those content types. That's mainly what you're going to be doing. You're going to be either be creating or you're editing content that already exists on your website. So with all that being said, let's just start off simple. What we're going to do is that we're going to go and we're going to add a content in for a basic page. I'm going to go into the basic page and I'm going to say, call this my cool page. If things will load. My cool page. And then in the body, I'm just going to throw in some lorem ipsum. I like using my cupcake ipsum here generator. And my static page is ready to go. Again, just like you've done in the past on your websites, you have the ability to upload images within the static page. You can kind of structure it that way. You can put in tables if that's what you want to do. But all that's going to be available for you. You can always change your format. If you want to do a full HTML, it gives you a little bit more options, very similar to kind of just how things like Word works, where you can kind of just structure the things how you want. But I'm going to keep it basic for now. If this is all I was going to do, I can go ahead and click save. But before I do that, because I know that this is going to be an important page that I want on the main menu, definitely take a look at these tabs right here to your right. One of the main things that you're probably going to want to do is put it onto the main menu. So under the menu settings, I'm going to click and say provide menu link. Now, this is always going to be the best way to go in and move things around on the main menu. So when you edit a page, just do it in here. It can make things just a lot easier to keep track of. And it also helps with the generation of those, your URL. So everything kind of makes sense. So if everything was if you're making a page for under About Us and it had to do with that, technically it would then generate it. So it says About Us / my cool page, just so it knows that it's nested under there. It helps with SEO purposes as well. So again, going to go into provide a menu link. I'm going to add it to the main navigation. I don't want to add it under anything. I'm going to actually keep it as a main, as a top level on my main menu. Everything else, I'm going to keep as default. Don't need to do anything there. And then I'm just going to click on save. Okay, so now my page has been created, which is my cool page, has my body in there. It's simple enough. You'll also see that now my cool page has been placed at the top of the main navigation. So if you go ahead and refresh your pages, you'll see it there. But that's simple enough. Does anybody have any questions so far about any of that, just as far as creating new content? I'm sure you both are familiar with doing that. Okay. So the next thing I want to do here is I want to go over resources. Again, I want to go in and kind of talk about this a little bit. I know it has been a little bit confusing for some, but resources has really been a good place for people to start uploading any kind of PDFs, documents, links that are important for their website, to kind of keep it into this whole document library. So right now, these are examples of just two different resources that are in here, right? These can be categorized whatever way that you want, whether that's a training document, they could be policies, they could be annual reports that you need to display. it's always good to upload them as a resource first. So they're put into that library so people can go in and search for those things. So if I want to take a look at everything that was just annual reports for that, I can click apply and it shows me just the annual reports. I don't need to worry about anything else. So it's always good to, so if you have those type of things, those budgets, if it's always better to do it as a resource first before anything else, because if I were to upload it, let's just say if I was in the about page and I wanted to post up just a couple of the fiscal year's budget reports, I can go ahead and I can do it in the body, kind of how we've done it before. The problem with that though is that now it's not kind of in the library and it's kind of hard to kind of reuse it the way that you might want to reuse it or allow people to kind of search for those things, because some people might not think about going to the about page to find out those fiscal year documents. Also, if you start generating a huge list of those fiscal year documents, you can run into a problem where it's hard to search for what you need, what your user is looking for, or what your user may be looking for. It might be hard for them to start searching those things. Having it as a resource, and as you can see here, one of the this has now turned into this hamburger side menu, and I'll explain that in a second. Mary has added a page, and that's kind of what caused this, and I'll show you why. But going into the resource, if I add that fiscal year budget or that fiscal year report, if I add it as a resource, now it's a part of this master list. And if people want to look at anything that just had to do with fiscal year reports, they can do that as well. I don't have any uploaded here on this website, but that's just a good way for people to kind of easily sift through those documents. Any questions on resources themselves, kind of how they function and where we're kind of going with it?
Do the resources have dates listed next to them so that we have dates associated when they were uploaded?
No, they don't. We can always add that on, but as kind of like because most people don't do that. I know that some people do that. This policy was signed into effect at this date,
right?
But that's something we can always customize for your website to kind of add on those type of dates.
Okay. And then I know that we had on our site, Vincent, a secret resources.
Mm-hmm.
So that if we wanted to put something up there, but we wanted to just provide a link to somebody, but not have it appear in the list of resources, is that still going to be available to us?
So for your new, I'm not sure if the vendor has copied over that functionality for your website. I think they should, but we can always, again, that's something we can just customize the way that this works, where we can do it where you say this is a quote unquote private document or resource, and you can have that separate page, kind of how you guys do it today.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, Mary, did you have any questions on resources at all?
No.
Okay. So one thing I want to show here. So Mary added on a new page. So because she did that, the main menu itself is starting to get a little long. Before, if you added in like 20 different main menu items that were all at the top, it just started stacking and it kind of started looking a little bit disorganized. Some agencies were running into that problem. So what we did is that after you add in a certain amount of top level navigations, automatically what it does is that it turns into this hamburger flyout menu. So when I click on this little hamburger here, it flies out the main menu. So then at that point, when you start listing a bunch of main menu navigations you want people to utilize, it will keep it a little bit more organized than kind of stacking things on top of each other, and it's starting to look a little funky for your users. This is something that is starting to become standard in for websites that kind of have this flyout menu. So it is not a new concept. your users will understand it for the most part, but I'm sure you'll still get complaints here and there, maybe a little bit confusing. But if you don't want to have that, it's time to maybe just start thinking about how you want to organize your main menu. So, for example, if I want to get back to where it was before, I'm just going to go ahead and click on this edit menu button. I'm going to rethink how I want to kind of structure things. So I think I'm going to take Mary's page. I'm going to move it under my pool page. And then another thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to put under about, I'm going to put meetings. News can stay there. And let's say event is under resources, just what I decided to do. I'm sure if you guys have messed around with the main menu or this menu system in Drupal 7, it's pretty much the same thing on Drupal 9. So you kind of just grab these little crosses and you kind of drag them to where you need it to be. If you want something to get nested under a certain item, you just kind of move it so it has this little indentation, and then now it's under resources. If I just moved it back, that means it's now in line. It's part of the main top level navigation. But again, I want to move it to the resources. And I'm going to save this. So I click save. All right. Now that I've saved it, you can see that the main navigation is kind of back to the way it was. I have Mary's page under my cool page. Under resources are the events. Under about are the meetings. Kind of organize it a little bit. So now I no longer have that fly out menu. So in case you ever run into the issue, that's exactly what's going on. Any questions? All right. I'm going to move on to this task I have for you guys to do. I'll give you guys some time to do it. Give you about 5 minutes. And if you have any questions, we can kind of go through it. But what I want you guys to do is that if you guys can just go to add content, I want you to create a resource for the resource type. The title can be whatever you want. Choose whatever document type you want, and then add in a PDF, whatever you guys have on your computers. Just throw it in there, or you can even just do a URL to a website, whether that's Google or Apple.com, whatever it is. You can throw in a link. I also want you to add in a description because that's something that we didn't cover that I do want to show you. So add in something. It could just be a quick description and then save that resource. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Okay, how's it going? You guys, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I can't get how to create a resource. I'm in the resources, but I don't have any kind of a plus or anything to add.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so again, going back, I'll share my screen here. In order to add a resource, I think I may have done it for you guys because that's something I do want to implement, is to have it so you can just click on add a resource to the top right and it adds it onto that resource. It's something we haven't implemented yet, but it's probably something that's going to be coming in our next iteration of everything. But to add a content, you go to the content here on the left side and then click on add or go hover over add
Okay.
content.
Got
and
it.
resources right there.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm used to doing it the other way because that's what our site does. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, I made your site too user friendly.
You did. You spoiled me. And then the list that you have is part of the resource components that you want because you have like document and all that. So go back to the list of the things you want us to do if you could.
Yeah.
So title, document, PDF. So that's all part of resource.
Yes.
So that was all part of the steps that you wanted us to do. Okay, got it. So I thought you wanted us to add a page and then do a resource. I wanted you. Okay, got it. Now I'm with you. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, choose files for add files not working for me, but that could be my computer. So I don't know if it's because we're all working in the same thing. Because I'm seeing capital rideshare program files. I think it is. I think it's because we're in the same account.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't do it then. I'm locked.
You should still be able to upload things that you need to.
Yeah, I'm pretty much locked.
Okay. Yeah, I think when you go in there, I'm gonna share my screen here as an example.
Yeah, it's probably my computer. So I don't know. Come on. So it's when I choose file, it's not letting me go anywhere. It's not letting me. It shouldn't take me to like my file explorer or something when I do choose file under add file.
Yes.
Okay, because it's not going anywhere.
Okay. So
So I'm hoping it's just because we're sharing.
I don't think that should be the issue. But let's take a look here. So if I go to add file, there's obviously the one that Mary had uploaded here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I click on choose file here.
Yep.
Yeah, mine's loading. It might be. I wonder if it's just a browser error that you're
Yeah,
running into.
mine's
So-
just slowly coming up. Okay, so mine came up. So I wanted to ask you about the page before when it talks about nodes and knowing the internal and all that. How would I know that? How would I've never known anything about that.
Sorry, the question again?
Linking to, and it talks about just typing in an internal URL, like, and then knowing the node, NODE, node.
Yeah.
How would I know any of that, or should I just ignore all that?
So this, you can ignore that. I mean, there's a way to figure it out, but it's a little bit more advanced. What you can do is that, so when I'm in here and I'm clicking a resource link, let's say if I wanted to go to the About Us page, right? If I start typing in About, it actually pulls it up here for me. So here is it, where like, oh, this is the About page.
Okay.
The little number that appears next to it is technically that node number.
That's the node. Okay.
But yeah, but you don't need to remember that kind of stuff. So it's just something where when you start typing in something, the news page here, for example, it starts pulling it up that way.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was just my computer is just running really slow. Okay. So I think I did everything you asked and I just saved it. So.
Okay. If you saved it, you should be good to go. I'm going to upload one myself. New resource. Call it and click save. So now that we've done that, kind of ran through it. We've created new resources. So when I click on the resources page itself, all of our resources that we've done have been put up here. So again, this is kind of a good way to start building out that document library. So the other thing here, if you wanted to add in more detail to those resources, regardless if they are documents or links, under more info, if I click on that, it gives me more context to exactly what this is. This actually allows you to, allows people to search through that. So for this one, for example, if I were to look up something, keyword is travel, and I click on it, it pops up just the Capital Rideshare overview. So it's always good to kind of give a good description of that. So if people try to search it by keyword, they can do that as well to kind of pull up those documents. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. So far, we've been able to create basic pages. We create these resources. I won't go into news and meetings and those type of things unless you guys want me to, but they're pretty much the same, right? You go in there, you say, I want to create new content, and you just fill out all the information that's there, and then add in any images that need to go along with it, and then you just go ahead and click save. And then once you do that, it will appear on those individual pages. One thing that I do want to start going over here, I want to click on my cool page. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to Mary's page.
It's not so cool.
Page. What was that?
It's not so cool.
No, it's okay. I still think it's pretty cool. I think you're good to go. The reason I want to share is because obviously you guys are going to be editing content, right? You guys are going to be getting your sites that are already created, and then you want to go in and you need to edit certain things around here. So there's going to be a few different things that I want to show you, kind of what you might run into. So the first thing is going to be, if we're talking about a basic page that Mary's created, all it has is some static content in there, right? So if I go in here and I click on edit, I'm able to go in, find where she did test, right? And then I can go ahead and update it with some lorem ipsum. And say, okay, I've added in some stuff here. Oh, and save it. Oops. I'm gonna save it. And now I've updated Mary's page. Again, simple enough. That's something that you'll probably run into a lot. The other thing I just want you to note as well, if you are editing a page and you say, I don't want Mary's page there right now. We're still working on it. I'm going to unpublish it. This is something that is common when you guys are editing and managing your information. So if I were to unpublish Mary's page, I say, okay, Mary's page is unpublished. But then I take a look and it's still there in my main navigation. So something to take note of, when I am logged in, because Mary's page is set up to be under my cool page under the main navigation, it still shows up for me because it displays published and unpublished pages. It is something that we want to look into and fix. It's just a default Drupal 9 decision that somebody made. It is kind of confusing because now that it's unpublished, it looks like it's still there. But if I were to actually go into this without logged in, Mary's page wouldn't be there. But if you're an editor, a content editor, it looks like it's still there, but it's not. So if you ever do run into that issue where you say, I unpublish it, but it's still there, it's probably because you're logged in. And if you really want to get rid of it on here, you would have to actually go into the edit and remove it from the main menu navigation. It is something that's annoying, but it may be something you run into. So just keep that in mind. But I don't want to remove Mary's page. I'm just going to go ahead and click and keep it as published. The other thing I want to show here is that the basic page obviously is just some static information, right? You might want to make it look a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a banner to put on here. And you guys are going to need to be familiar with this particular button here, which is called layout. This is something where a lot of the page structures that you're going to get when you get your new website is going to be built through this layout builder, is what it's called, this layout builder. So if I click on layout, it brings me to this admin page. So these are creating various sections for me to put content. So not only are we talking about things like just the title and like the body, but you can put in different types of what we call our components, but they're blocks. So if I go in here, you can add in different blocks. So if you want to add in some text, you can do that, and it adds it on to this particular page that you're working on. It doesn't change it anywhere else. This is only regards to this particular page. So with that, I'm just going to show you an example here. Because we want to add in a banner, there's some default sections that you can work with. You see this one section that it goes across the entire page, whereas this one, it ends. It has some white space to the left and right. That's because that it just has some gutter. It's for alignment purposes. However, if I put a content in here, it stretches across the entire page. That's usually what we want when we want banner images, right? So I'm going to click on add block here. So when I do that, I just go up here to the right at the top. Don't worry about all this other information. We can go that more in detail in the more advanced training. But for the basics purposes, we just want to go and focus on this particular button here where it says add custom block. So I'm going to click on that. And then there is one that's called banner. I'm going to click on banner. So it pops up this little configure block. This is something that's new, that's introduced to Drupal 9, something we're taking advantage of. But this allows you to kind of create those more customized splash pages, utilize these components to be able to put into different places on the website to make your website look and feel a little bit nicer. It does take a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get there, it is pretty easy to use. So with this, because I'm creating a new block, it usually throws in a default title in there. You can name that whatever. It's not going to display unless you actually click on this display title. So, but for the most part, you're going to want to just leave it as default and leave that blank. But for this one, because I am creating a banner for Mary's page, I'm going to just put Mary's page. Description, I'm going to leave that blank. And I'll show you why here in a second. And then I am going to put, I'm not going to do anything with the URL or link text. But what I do want to focus on is going to be this media. So again, just like we've done in the past, where we are utilizing these, we're uploading images and utilizing that. I'm going to click on choose file here. I am going to upload an image here. Oh, wait, hold on. This is a known issue with this image upload. I'm just going to grab one that's already uploaded.
Is it possible or advisable to size these photos in Photoshop and then upload them?
That's a good question. We actually have trying to solve that issue for everybody. So actually, let me just fix something here real quick. I'm going to up our permissions here because we're just running into an issue with the uploading an image. But if I go to one second here. So let me just refresh here. I bumped up our permission because uploading the image was being blocked by permission that we need to fix. But I'm going to click on here. I'm going to redo this, and I'll show you, Mary, here to answer your question. What we've built in to the website now is we actually allow for cropping. So you can crop it exactly where you need it to go and where you want it to go. So you don't have to worry about doing that whole Photoshop process before, where you have to kind of just make sure it is exactly right. Try to find images, obviously, that are manageable. You're not want to upload something that's completely huge in size. But it's something that you can easily, if you find something that's good in size, but you want to kind of crop it to meet the standards that are going to be set for where like the banner is going to be placed or something else. So again, let me pull this up here. That works. Okay. So image of the botanic. What we have here is that we have the ability to kind of crop these images within the website. So there's going to be a few different ones that you want to crop, because once you do this once, you don't have to do it again. And you can use this in that image in different places along the website. So you don't have to worry about recropping it. So if you just take a minute and just make sure that it kind of looks good if you were to use something like this. So this is for a slideshow. I want to make sure that, it captures certain elements. I'll do that. We are using a banner for this one. So again, I want to do that as well to make sure it looks good. And then lastly, it's just going to be this simple square crop. And then I am going to go ahead and click save. One thing to note, you'll see this show in media library. You don't have to worry about that. That was actually an old functionality that we were playing around with. That's not something we utilize anymore. It doesn't do anything. So I'm gonna click on save.
We don't have a media library anymore?
No, we have a media library. That's what this is. That button
Okay.
itself just doesn't do anything. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that image has been uploaded now. Again, I didn't have to go into Photoshop doing that kind of stuff. I just found an image that was reasonably sized, added in there, and made all the crops that I need to do. So, next thing I'm gonna do is text color. White, I think is fine for right now. I'm actually gonna click and add an image overlay. I'll add block. So what that overlay does is actually just it adds in a dark image or a dark kind of component over the image, so it makes that text stand out a little bit better than it would have if it wasn't there. But as you can see here, I've added in this banner image. So when I go ahead and click Save Layout, Mary's page has been updated. Now it has a banner on it.
And
So
infinitely cooler.
yes, infinitely cooler. So that gives you a pretty good idea as far as kind of, when you do come across those type of things where on your new website, you'll have something just like, how do I edit this image? How do I add in a banner? You're going to be usually doing it through the layout builder. So again, Mary, if Capital Rideshare gets a website, when you get your website and you have an image in here that you don't like, because we're using placeholder images, in order to change that, you just go ahead, go into that layout builder, click on configure, and then you can swap out the image. If you scroll down to the media, you'll swap out the image by first removing the one that's there with this little button. You can barely see it, but there is a button right there. You click on X, it removes it, and then you can add in your own image.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And the same will go, that's true for kind of most things that you will find on the website. If you're wondering, well, where do I change that? How do I change that text? How do I change that image? Make sure you click on the layout builder, and then you can hover over. You'll see those little gear icons that pop up, the little pencil. You click on that pencil and you configure it. Don't click on quick edit. It is something that's going to break your site pretty quickly. Not break it like it's not going to be fixable, but it just makes it annoying. Doesn't really work. When I click on it, for example, it kind of shows me to do things here. When I try to edit it, it's not the best tool. Mary Schools page with a Z, you save it. This one's kind of working fine. That's fine, but there's other components. There's other elements of things that's going to be hard to kind of change things around. But does anybody have any questions on this? Okay. This leads on to another task I have for you guys. So I'm going to share this tab here. This is going to be a little bit longer. What I want you guys to do is to create a basic page. Mary, you've already done that. You can create another one if you want to, just kind of a little bit more extra practice. But you'll add some lorem ipsum into the body, and under the main menu system, put it into the main menu, but put it under My Cool page. Then click Save. Then go to Layout, and let's add in a slideshow. That's going to be a little bit different from the banner, but it's added in the slideshow, so you can kind of see what that looks like, and put it into that top region that we put that banner. Let me know if you have any questions. I will be right back. All right, how's it going? Any questions on anything?
I didn't remember how to generate lorem ipsum, so I went and got some off the web.
Okay. Best place to go look for it. If you want, I will throw in this stupid lorem ipsum generator like using. It's called Cupcake Ipsum. But it will generate that for you. If you ever need a lorem ipsum generator.
Vincent, am I supposed to choose create custom block once I click add block, or what am I supposed to do?
Yes, so when you add block, that big blue button on the right top,
Uh-huh.
yeah, click on that.
Okay. And then banner. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you get it to crop? Because I couldn't get it to crop.
When you upload an image, so I'm not sure if you're using one that's just already there, but when you upload an image, there should be a little crop section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you click on that, and you have to click on each individual one and crop it.
Okay.
It will say crop and applied right next to the little title of it. So if you if you just click within the image, it will say crop and applied. You want to do that for each one.
Okay.
Vincent, are we choosing homepage slideshow or text with slideshow?
Homepage slideshow.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah, Chris, you went with the banner, which is fine. I think.
Oh, I thought that's where we were going. Okay.
No, and that's fine. It's just I wanted you guys to get familiar with just that whole process.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be different components that you can play around with, but yeah, the homepage slideshow is the one that it's kind of featured on the front. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than a banner, and obviously you can add in multiple ones. So
okay, so if I wanted to get rid of this, okay, so I see remove, and then instead I can do add. Okay. So, okay, because I did, okay, so instead of banner, you said text with slideshow or just slideshow?
The slideshow, the homepage slideshow, I think is what it's called.
No, I only have slideshow or text with slideshow.
Oh, slideshow. Yes, that one.
I have a homepage. Okay, because I have a homepage card, but you're saying slideshow. Okay. Okay. Try this instead.
Okay, I've got the slideshow in here, but I can't figure out how to change the photos in there.
Okay. Mary, so I want to make sure that you went to the right place. I'm going to share I'll jump back over to the instructions, but I'm going to share my tab here real quick. When you talk about the homepage slideshow, did you go to, when you went to layout and you added the block, sorry, wait for it to load here.
Right.
Did you scroll down here and then find the homepage slideshow?
I typed slideshow in the search to find it because that's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. So actually what you want to do, instead of doing that, because this is pulling up, these are pulling up components that are already existing. But what we want to do is creating something new. So yeah, so what we would do here is just go click on that big blue button that says create custom block.
Okay.
And then there's a block called slideshow.
Oh, okay. That's what I did do. Okay.
Okay, so sorry about that.
No worries. So the training is for to kind of help you guys answer any questions you guys run into. How's it going? Any questions?
Well, I'm trying to upload and it won't really let me upload anything. So I'm just stuck with the stuff that you have uploaded, which are really tall images. So I'm not really getting what I'm hoping to get. So are you supposed to be able to upload more than one slide?
Yes, you can.
Is that the add block thing?
At the bottom, yeah, there'll be an add slide button, I think. So I'm gonna pull up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You see, yeah, there's an add slide.
Okay, but when I click that, it doesn't do anything. So, or is that
So
where?
it looks like it doesn't do anything. So there you can see it jumps a little bit. What it actually does,
Okay.
if you scroll up, you'll see you'll
Okay.
have multiple of the same
Okay.
things to upload. So
And do I need to do anything other than adding pictures, or do I need to type stuff in too for
no,
now?
you can just add pictures. You can add
Okay.
in you can
Okay.
add in titles if you want to kind of play it around with it, see how it functions. But
Okay. But there's no way to edit these or crop these that are already in here. They're just going to be really tall images for us.
yeah, you might have issues with that. Yeah, because those are uploaded just a
Mhm.
different way than traditional because it's just how the site installs. You
Okay.
might run into some issues with that.
Okay. Okay. And I see they've got them all in here now.
Is it making us add all the crops for these?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to add something, and up in red at the top, it says card/teaser crop, comma, slideshow/page image crop, comma, banner crop, comma, square crop are required. So am I supposed to?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
running into that issue too. And I've saved the ball and then I realized I had to click on show in media library. So I'm hoping it's there.
well, it looks like for crop image, you have to choose one of the crop types. And I did square crop, but that doesn't seem to make a difference.
Yeah, I'm running into the same problem, Vincent.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to upload. If you take a look here, I'm going to upload a new image. So you have this. You're not necessarily selecting one or the other. So if I were to just do this, nothing really happens. But what you have to do is, so if I click on card/teaser crop, you have to go in here and then it says crop and applied. You have to click on here and kind of move it around.
We can't see you
Where
what
you
you're
want.
doing.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Here's another image that I was uploading here. So when instead of just kind of selecting, you're not really selecting which crop type you're using.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are being used for that image. You just have to apply the cropping. So if I were to click on here and say, okay, I want to have the cropping be so it's just this flower thing right here that I have. So I click on that, it should pop up cropping applied. Now that only does it for one. What you want to do is do it for all of them. So if I click on slideshow crop here, I have to first select it. If you're fine with kind of the default of how it is, you have to kind of select it first. And then it says cropping applied.
Oh, you have to do all of them.
Yeah, you have to do all of them.
But how do I get it to, like, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Got it. Okay, so once you've got a cropping applied for all 4 of them, then it should allow you to save it.
Yes.
Okay, that's exactly what happened. Okay. Okay. Well, that worked. Okay, and then I click add block at the bottom when I've got them all.
Yeah, so when you select that, you just go to insert select. Yeah, you'll add block at the bottom.
Okay.
Scroll down and then add block.
Okay.
Again, like I said, this stuff takes a little bit of a learning curve, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to kind of be adding in slideshow images, those banners, and kind of making your site a little bit more visually appealing. So, but there is a bit of a learning curve.
A certain, and I can link it. Yeah, but I can link one of those to an area with my site, right?
Yeah.
Within my site. I didn't do it, but I could. Okay.
Yeah, those slides they'll allow you to put in a button, a little button where you can say learn more or about us, and you can link it directly to
Yeah.
those pages and stuff. So
Okay.
you'll have that ability.
Why is it? Okay.
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 Mary, how's it going? You running into any issues?
I'm getting them in there. Then I got to see if I can apply it. So I did all the crops. It only shows the square ones, but when I go to apply the photo for the slideshow, it'll give me the correct crop, right?
Yeah, so when you click save block, it will go to the right crop.
Okay.
Once you do that, Mary, once it's in there, you go ahead and save the layout, and then it should appear on the page. Okay. So I'm gonna take a look here at Chris's page here. So I see you placed it right here, right under FAQ, and that worked. You know, some people may want some slideshows that are like this to kind of just slide through, to kind of have it be an image like this. One thing to note, though, if you did want that whole full banner with look, you can always move this. You don't have to recreate anything. You can just take this, what you have here. I'm going to move it up a section into section 1 that is not there. Hold on a second. Okay, let me Let me add in a section here. I'm just going to move this up to section 1. Click Save Layout. And as you can see here, I just moved the slideshow. So I just moved it around. I didn't have to recreate it, but it is something where if you want to move components around, you can do that. Obviously, depending on the section it is, it's going to look a little bit different. Now, because this is in that top section 1, it creates that full slideshow banner if that's what you wanted to go for. Again, you can keep it under another FAQ, and that's how you want to do it. You could do it that way as well. There's different ways you can kind of mix and match things, but it also goes to show you that you don't have to recreate it. You can just move it around. So don't worry about, like, I went in this section, so I'm going to redo this over again. You could just drag and drop it where you need it to go. The last thing I want you guys to do, I know we're up here on time. The last thing I kind of want you guys to go through is if you click on landing page here, for example, I want you to go in and try to edit one of these blocks, one of these first 3, let's say here, either the slideshow, the welcome message here, or these cards that are there. Try to edit one of those to change it to something, whatever you want it to be. I want to go through with this with you guys because this is mainly what you're going to be doing when you get your new site, in case you need to change anything around, whether that is image, some text. This is kind of mainly what you're going to be doing with a lot of the stuff that's set up on your site. So go through and try to edit one of these things. I'll give you guys about like 5 minutes. Nothing, you don't have to do anything drastic unless you want to, but I want to make sure you guys understand that concept of changing this stuff around.
I can edit. It's just apparently I can't save properly. My whole slideshow, somewhere in one of the 10 saves, I didn't save somewhere right.
You just want us to change like one of the images or something, or?
Yeah, an image, you can change some text, a link, whatever it is that you want. Just so you know, this is what you're going to be doing when you guys get your new site.
Okay. I was like, 5 minutes is a long time.
So I'm just hovering over to Mary's page. Let me see if I can find where that slideshow is. So the slideshow is in here. So in case you ever do that, so you may have done it and you're like, oh, okay, it should be good to go. Maybe you went to Mary's other page here, for example, and it's not there. What it actually does is that it saved it in the background. What you didn't do is, like, technically, quote unquote, publish it.
Publish it?
Yeah. So if I click on layout here again, it pulls it back up. Make sure when you're done with everything, you click on save layout.
Oh, that's the save button I missed? That is definitely the one I missed.
Yeah. So now it's up there. This is already looking like the Capital Rideshare website. Yeah. Okay. I mean, you guys these type of things, you can be a little bit difficult to kind of wrap your head around. But again, once you do it, it's pretty simple enough to do. If you guys have gone in to change out something on the landing page, that's good. If you run into any issues, of course, just always let us know. But does anybody have any questions, I guess, before we wrap things up here? I know we're over time a little bit.
No, I just tried to do some URLs on my slideshow, and I don't know if those worked or not, my links.
Your links? Let's
Yeah, on my page. I don't know if you could check them for me real quick. I just linked them to other pages on my site.
So
I don't know if is it linking text or is it just linking the image?
it should be.
Because I didn't put text in. So if I'm supposed to be putting text in to link text, or if you can click on the image, maybe that's what I did wrong.
Oh gosh, I got a meeting with my boss. I gotta go.
See you, Mary.
Hi.
So that URL, when you go into your editing your slideshow,
Mm-hmm.
that URL, I think it needs text. So
Okay.
yeah, if you didn't fill out the link text, it won't show.
Okay, so it's linking the text, not the image.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I did wrong. Okay, sounds good. Well, I appreciate the basic lesson. I appreciate the private lesson.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
So do you think you're going to be doing this again for other folks that didn't show up for this then? It's
Yeah,
going to be the same thing, so I can.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're providing it. It's usually the same thing.
Okay.
Not too much different. We also are offering a more advanced thing where we kind of go a little bit more into what you can do with the layout builder to kind of do stuff around with.
Okay.
So we do have that, just the deeper dive into what we've been doing today, building off what we have. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Definitely
No
feel a little
problem.
comfortable with it.
Mhm.
Okay, appreciate your time.
All right.
Okay, take care.
All right. You too.
Okay, bye, Vincent.